A mi abuela, la fundadora de la ternura. A mi madre, fuente de vida inagotable. A Silvia y a Julia, por la canción interminable. A Lolita Lebrón, por la fiereza.
It was my 16th birthday, and my friends were tired of hearing me whine about boys. You know, when am I gonna kiss one? When am I gonna hold hands longer than 5 seconds? When am I gonna have a boy to parade around like a New York public school athletic league trophy? My friends and I, we were as diverse as the arroz con gandules and challah bread I ate at home. Some of us ate pegao, others called it con con. Some of us ate cocolong, while others devoured fried rice or whatever could be microwaved in a minute or less. But the feeling I remember most was that I was always behind. Not late as in basketball practice, but delayed as in everyone in my crew had already slept with boys or at least had their first kiss. Mom said the secret to cooking rice is to always cook it on low fire, to let the little pellets simmer and sweat until they could be fluffed with a fork, softened. But desire doesn't work that way. Not in high school. Everything was a mad dash to womanhood, and I was somewhere in the back getting lapped. It's my 16th birthday. Laura and Rao are already plotting a party. Mom said I could have the apartment all to myself and invite anyone I want. Mission impossible. Get Denice a boy to hook up with was on. His name was Chris, I think. He had abs, lots of them. The muscles in his stomach stuttered, and so did I. Craig had a nice fade and a little diamond earring. His pretty little white teeth looked like a pack of chiclets. So when they locked me and Carlos in the room for 7 minutes of heaven, I thought this was it. This is when my body will work. Because if not now, then when? Because if not now, the gods of desire have cursed me good. And since this is the only engine I've got, there isn't a mechanic who can fix it. Not Walter Mercado, not Cosmic Jackie, and not the candles Mom lights at the Catholic Church each week. The kiss with Charlie was mushy. All lips and gums, but soft and tender like one of those glazed ribbon donuts from the breakfast cart. I could hear the squeals and the giggles from the other side of the door. I could hear the fist pumps and the gyrating hip thrusts. I could feel the voice in my head begging my body to rise, like a coach summoning his best players off the bench. Let's say that week at school, somewhere between Spanish class and English class, I confess the kiss was I. Let's pretend there was a second gathering at Laura's while her mother was out of town, right? Let's say that after hearing how underwhelmed I was, Laura, who believed in pleasure and my right to it, put herself in the game. Let's say there was a couch. There was a couch, right? Let's say there was a couch and I was somewhere on it wearing corduroys and high waters. Then her lips poured into mine. Then my body unlocked like 1,000 metal latches pulled clean off the bone. And that's when I realized maybe Magneto knew something about desire and how to unleash it. Let's hear the gear shift. Let's say wild things can't be tamed. Let's say daylight, 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 daylight. Let's say what a blessing to feel anything at all. Because that night, I was alive. And Blackstreet was singing No Diggity from a 1-bedroom apartment near the Lower East Side. And I was blushing wide. And though I couldn't know what tomorrow would hold, I could already feel my own body blooming. No doubt. no doubt.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
I'm here with Frances Negron Muntaner. Frances is a Puerto Rican scholar and filmmaker. She's also a professor at Columbia University.
I was born in Santurce, Puerto Rico, on January 9, 1966.
Frances, it's really an honor to be with you. Can you talk to us a little bit about the archive?
I feel the reason that these projects often begin is to connect, to build a community, to produce the knowledge that you feel you need to live. Leaving a legacy to the next generation so they don't have to start again from zero.
Right.
It's almost like at that beginning, you're looking for all the little mentions, the footnotes, the traces that we have in those more mainstream accounts.
Okay.
Okay, so now we have to produce this knowledge ourselves, right?
Right.
I find in our history, the oral history
Right.
is almost always the first step that we all take.
But how?
Do you want me to read this?
Please.
The most meaningful question may not be why there are no robust books about lesbian history in Puerto Rico, but how, why, and in what forms have lesbians invoked the past and to what effects? Undoubtedly, Puerto Rican lesbian histories and memories have been and continue to be told through embodied acts, clothing, style, oral practices such as song, gossip, radio, and multiple literary genres, particularly poetry.
You know, I don't even know how old I was when I dressed up in my daddy's clothes. Was this 1993?
Clothing, style, dancing.
I could tell you about the 80s button-down shirt with the open collar. I could tell you about the imaginary gold chain in my head.
Invoke the past.
I could tell you about the light-washed, oversized jeans that bunched up at the leg like a parachute about to unfold 10,000 feet above ground.
Invoke the past and to what effects.
Ode to daddy's clothes. The black leather belt that wrapped around my waist twice. The silver buckle and open mouth on a hot day. I could tell you about the brown loafers 12 sizes too big and how I swam in all of it.
The particularity of experience.
My forearm leaned against the wooden door frame of my sister's makeshift one-bedroom. The other hand pressed gently above my hip, just waiting.
Lesbians in Puerto Rico and the diaspora have been actively listening to each other as a way to produce knowledge about the past since at least the 1970s. In other words, interviewing is how lesbians do it. As lesbian scholar activists before me, I was moved by what Cherie Moraga calls a hunger of memory.
So like history is an inquiry, like a custom tooth you lost in the middle of 42nd Street that now you must find.
A hunger of memory.
In the meantime, you fill the space in your mouth with cheap replicas, plastic gold teeth, false enamel, false stories.
A hunger of memory.
You start to think maybe the tooth doesn't exist.
A hunger of memory.
My name is Ruth Borey. That's what she named me, but it's actually Ruth Milia Boydier. The middle name is M. Milia. So she took the whole name and said Ruth Milia, and she named me that. My year of birth was 1947. I was born in the Bronx, Lincoln Hospital.
So we're having this interview in your barbershop in Brooklyn, in Park Slope. Can you share the story? Just tell me about this barbershop, how long you've been running this barbershop and how you started.
Well, it started when we moved to Brooklyn, and I was about maybe 3 years old, right? My father liked to go to this barbershop around the corner on Fulton Street, and he would always take me with him, right? The barbershop was called Mr. Dorsey's Barbershop, and Daddy and the guys be talking after he get his hair cut. They all be talking, but I'd be running through the whole damn barbershop with this little ball that Mr. Dorsey used to like to play golf, and he made a can with a little hole in it to throw the ball in there, and I would watch the ball trying to go into the can. And I would run after the ball and stop it from going in the can, and then I would take it back to Mr. Dorsey, like that. And it seemed like he was like laughing at me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And every time he did that, I would run after that ball while my father was talking with the other guys that cut his hair, you know. But I would play, and then later on I would sit down, you know, when the guys are starting to come in to get the haircut, and Daddy would go, siéntate, like that. But Daddy wouldn't leave because he was talking with the guys. And meantime, I'm sitting there, and the guys are cutting the guy's hair that comes in, and something inside me, after they were finished with the haircuts, I would go, wow, nice. But I couldn't say it in words yet. Something inside me would go, they were leaving looking so nice.
So Ruthie, you play ball, right? I saw you hooping. You cut hair. Are you Buddhist? Because I saw you had a Namyo Horenge Kyo card right there in the barbershop. I know what that is. Can you tell me about your hands? It sounds like you do a lot. Okay. Well, I'm a carpenter, okay? I'm a carpenter. See, back in the 80s, they didn't want women like me, you know, in the carpentry business, right? And it's a good thing I know how to use my hands and whatnot, because you see all this? I did this. This was all junk. All this was junk when I got in this place. So I laid down the sheetrock and like that, right? Like that. And I put new floors, you know, like that. And I made this place looking real nice, you know. I didn't really go to school like that. No, not like that. See what happened, they made a mistake with me. They put me in a special ed class. They thought I was slow. But I'm real smart, you know? I'm real smart. And so sometimes I would sneak out of my sisters, I would sneak out of my class, and I would go downstairs, right? And I would sneak into my sister's class, and I would say, why can't I read what they're reading? Why can't I learn what they're learning? You know? Like that and whatnot. And so as time went on, you know, I went home to Mommy one day and I said, Mommy, you know, I'm done. And that's when I started working in the factories, you know, with my hands. Huh? Am I religious? No. I'm not religious. So I'm Buddhist, right? I'm Buddhist. I've been chanting for 40 years, okay? So I'm part of District 4. Every member has their district like that, right? And so one day I was in a barbershop. I had been chanting by myself many years by myself like that, okay? And so one day, this guy came in at a barbershop, and he was like, what district are you from? And I was like, what district? What you mean, what district? What you mean, what district I'm from? And he said, what district you from? He said, all right, you coming with me. You coming with me tonight we're gonna go to a meeting. So after that, I cleaned up my little station nice, like Mommy taught me. I put everything in the right place. I cleaned up my clippers, all that. And I met him outside. We went to the planning meeting. And I would go each week, right, to the planning meeting. And then, it was so fucking funny. All right, so after a few weeks, right, one of the members, they said, you know, Ruthie, we saw you. So each week you would come to the planning meeting, you will move up a row. First you was in the back, then you will move up a row till we saw you all the way in the front. But we don't want to say nothing. We don't want to say because you was doing your thing. You was doing your thing, right? So yeah, you know. To me, Buddhism is about, okay, it's like cause and effect. It's a cycle. What you do, it comes back like that, right? Yeah, I enjoy young people, do I have a relationship with young people? I mean, you see them, they come in the shop, you know? They come in the shop. I love talking with young people. I go to Ginger's. Every night I go to Ginger's. Yeah, I go to Ginger's. So I sit at the bar, and I don't know if it's because they see an older lady sitting by herself. They don't always want to talk to me. But I'll talk to them if they want. You know, if they're going through a rough time like that, you know, I'll talk to them. But I like to play pool. And they don't think an old lady like me, but I be busting their ass. Yeah, like that. And so, yeah, I'll show them how to play pool if they want, you know. I'll talk to them if they want to talk, but yeah, mostly I just go to play pool.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hola, nena. It's Mom. I'm just calling to check on you, to see if you get back to Philly. Call me, text me. You know, I was thinking what you tell me the other day. That you know when I say none of my girls are sexy like me, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. But it's the truth. Maybe you don't get what I mean to say. Okay, when I was living in Bushwick, and then Eastern Parkway, okay, before I met your father, I was wearing tight clothes. So this is from the 70s, my time. I was wearing a skirt, a lipstick, and like that. Like that. So when I say sexy like me, I don't mean to offend you, but it's the truth sometimes. Okay, nena. Sometimes I try to express myself, and it's not easy. I feel like when we speak Spanish, you get me better. And we don't speak all the time like that. So I just want you to know I'm always here, and I'm always chanting for you, even if I don't get it.
Hello, testing. Can we start? Is this on? Well, I want to tell you about Ada Bello. She was born in 1933 in Havana and came to America at the end of the Batista regime in the late 50s. You know, she did so much in Philadelphia in the early organizing. She founded the first chapter of a lesbian organization here in Philadelphia called the Daughters of Bilitis. And that group went on and evolved into the Philadelphia Homophile Action League, which was more of an activist organization. They stood up to the police in the police raids. She stood up to Police Commissioner Frank Rizzo. And she was one of the people who were the last people I knew who died of COVID. She was 89 years old. We miss her. We miss her a lot. She was my friend.
It was the 60s, everybody was questioning everything. Why is this that we had to actually scurry around like we are delinquents? The place is still there. I mean, it's on Walnut Stairs, and that is what Rosty's was. It was, the typical lesbian bar at the time, because if it was illegal, they could do anything. I mean, you couldn't complain if the drinks were watered down. But it was very popular. I mean, it was Saturday nights, it was wall-to-wall people, and it was open Wednesday nights. So that was the scene, and that was like, we thought that was liberation that we had. It's like, if they didn't kill you, at least that was, you were having a good time because you had the rights. They didn't kill you. You could, but you had to go through all this rigmarole to find these places, to get to them, and then just pray that they didn't raid them.
What did those raids feel like?
The danger was that if somebody started giving any lip to the police, they could actually round them up and take you to jail. I mean, and that happened. That somebody actually arrested in another occasion, and I wasn't there. But it was quite an event because, the police came and then somebody started giving some trouble. So I said, well, okay, everybody. They put them in jail for overnight, and they let them go the next morning, but they already left their names.
And you said that you weren't able to go because you wouldn't have your citizenship yet.
Right. And there was another Cuban that was in the same situation. We were both, we just had joined with pretend names like Maria or something. We didn't want to use our real name because we were both just here on a green card.
So did most of the women join the organization under false names?
Yes, a lot of them.
And so you were Maria. Were there other Marias?
Yeah, probably some name that frequent enough, it would be difficult to locate.
Maria some things. Not like some doo-wop group or that old telenovela show Marimar. Not like that Carlos Santana song or any old West Side Story lyric. No sharks, no jets. Here, we were a sea of Marias. Easy, sayable, unseen. Something any gringo with two left feet could pronounce. Because this country would scoop you up and haul you out in the back of a paddy wagon for being unsayable, out of tune, and too seen. Seen as in illegal. Illegal as in jaywalking. As in another lover's lips meeting yours on a quiet, hot Wednesday night. As in a bar, down the alley, past the bouncer, up the stairs, on the right, on the left. Wasn't enough of a reason to want to loosen your joints alongside a brown woman whose number you plan to know. And though the jukebox is the only law you answer to, though the speakers are the only God whose voice never atrophies, the roaches who infest this place could care less. So see Maria with the button-down shirt. See me, Maria, with the denim Wrangler jeans. See Maria with the hand-me-down purple dress. Now here comes another Maria with a leather vest. All Marias. Maria somethings. Thanks to Police Chief Rizzo and his crooked trench coat cronies, their badges and batons, their wandering hands in basements and bars. And though we were loved, all rejected in one language or another by an aunt, a father, a country. So we decided to become somebody's daughters of Bilitis. Something so mythic, it was real, a rumor, a mouthful, a side door entrance with a front door key. And who was Bilitis, you ask? She was the fictional name of this dyke who lived across the street from Sappho on the island of Lesbos. Some would say real poets we were. Yeah, but daughters first. Ode to the dance floor. Tonight is a night to sweat with strangers. And all the straight girls want to dance at the gay club. And all the gay girls aren't straight tonight, though we will be when we get home. So praise this temporary heaven between synth and pop, The scratch and cut of us, the bodies swivel and slush, hip jutted and pressed against some lavender dipped woman, and if loved nowhere else, loved here. In this kingdom of baggy jeans, half-bitten nails, and oversized t-shirts. A parade of soft poppies and sinvergüenzas. So praise the walls, which are not church, but make me sing. Leave me holy. Drop me to my knees, the DJ preaching a 4 a.m. gospel of 2004 reggaeton hits where Lil Jon screams, yeah, and Pitbull shouts, culo. Because this is how we find each other, knee deep in the pocket of a velvet fresh groove. And elsewhere, not far from here, a field of burnt dresses and wired bras, and elsewhere, not far from here. Raquel and I stand on 27th Street, split open by the tune out of some dude, faggot, dyke, and elsewhere. Not far from here. We are who our own mothers warned us about. My own carrying a song that goes, I know you love women, Nana, but why dress like a man? Which is interesting. If you consider if I were a man, I wouldn't stare at anything that couldn't hunt me back, but I digress. Let me resurrect a different animal. Let me say it plain. The whole world begins and ends right here, in this brief country between two speakers. So praise heaven and Henrietta's, nations and temptations, Esco's and Nicki's remix, and that bar I ran to when I almost came out to my mother, by which I mean those shoulders and elbows and heavenly laced beloveds who nodded and said, I know, when I could not go home alive and alive, when I could not name a tomorrow without blood in it, when all I could say was come dance with me. This is our song.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Oye, nena, where are you? I'm calling to check on you to see if you're okay. Well, I just came from walking the dogs and I was thinking about something you say to me. You know, we was talking and you say that you feel like when you told me that you lesbian, that you like women's in college, that you feel like I had a problem with you, okay? And I just want to say I didn't have a problem, okay? Sometimes I have fears, okay? I have fears. So I worry about your sisters too, but I worry about you because, you know, you're different. I remember when that lady, the neighbor, when she accused you of selling drugs in my floor, in my building. You remember that, huh? But you remember that I confront that lady, okay? I confront that lady for you, you know. Sometimes when we out, you know, I see that people, they stare at you when we eat in Westway, you know, when we eat there in the corner. I see sometimes. But listen, Nena, some people, they don't like me neither, okay? Sometimes maybe because I'm Puerto Rican, I got an accent, you know. We all different. I just want you to be okay, to be safe. Don't worry about it, mi niña. I do anything for you, okay? Some people, they just, well, you know what I mean.
Gloria Cáceres was born in Philadelphia. She was raised in Kensington. She was Mexican. She was the city's first director of LGBTQ affairs. In 2014, Gloria passed away at the age of 42 after a battle with breast cancer. Gloria was my partner, my best friend, and my wife. In 2015, about a year after Gloria passed away, the community and the city came together to create a mural in Gloria's honor by an artist that she loved, Michelle Angelo Ortiz. The mural was located on the 12th Street Gym, on 12th Street, right in the heart of the neighborhood. The mural was located on a street that is now known as Gloria Caceres Way. In 2020, the building, 12th Street Gym, was purchased by Midwood, a developer, and Midwood whitewashed the mural despite efforts by community organizers, by Gloria's friends, by Gloria's family to preserve the mural and preserve the life and the legacy that Gloria brought to 12th Street.
Take your seats. We are now open for public comments.
Hi, my name's Denice. I am a writer. I live in Philadelphia. I'd like to talk about what happened to Gloria's mural. I didn't know Gloria well, but I met her when there was that flag raising, the first flag raising at City Hall that she organized, and she asked me to do a poem. I remember meeting her there, and there are so many things that Gloria did for this community. I mean, we'd be here all day, right? We could talk about how she fought for LGBT homeless youth. We could talk about how she was one of the founders of the Dyke March, but I assume by now you all know all the things that she's done. So I want to talk about something a little different. I want to talk to you about what she meant. I've been listening to everyone that's spoken before me. I listened to the comments from the board members and the developers who are here today and their lawyers. It's something that's bothering me is how you're talking about Gloria as if she's a bump in the road, as if she's an obstacle in your architectural plan. When they created this mural, do you know they interviewed her friends and her family? Do you know they talked to her cousin Bernadette and her wife Trisha? Have you ever lost somebody? Have you lost them twice? And for what? Some high-rise luxury apartments and overpriced condos where no one knows each other's names. You know, Gloria fought for us, right? So we're gonna fight for her. Because if there's anything taught me, it's that you don't gotta shake up the whole world to make the world shake. There's 3,000 murals in this city. Only one was of an LGBTQ woman of color. Explain to me how that happens. There's a reason all of us showed up here today. To take time from work and our jobs and our families to show up and confront you. It's because we coming back for our bones. We coming back for our bones. Yeah. See, some of you developers think you can throw money at the problem, right? Hire some pop-up artists from New York to come down here, do a little install, and then in 2 years and some change, you think we've forgotten, right? And you think the paintbrushes are all dried up? Yeah. I just want you to know the paintbrushes over here are still wet.
Sorry, your time is up.
Ode to Luisa Capetillo's pants. Ode to the pleat, to the cufflink, and to the tie. Ode to the freshly ironed button down. Ode to the fedora, to the feather tucked neatly inside like a peacock's train. Ode to the stares, all the stares, the head tilts and the whispers. Ode to the scandal of a buckle, a brim, and a bad attitude. Ode to two pant pockets so deep they could hold the ashes of a nation's crusty dream. Ode to the outlaw.
Check, mic, 1, 2, 3, test, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, my name is Leticia Gomez, but I'm known as Lepi. My friend Laura Esquivel is a Chicana lesbian that was born in LA in 1958. Well, Laura was a pivotal member in the gay rights movement in LA in the 80s. Her role at the Gay and Lesbian Community Center, and then as the first woman president of GLUE, Gay and Lesbian Latinos Unidos, was extremely important to give visibility to LGBT Latinos in LA. She also helped found Lesbianas Unidas, which was a spinoff from GLUE. You may not know this, but Laura and I marched together in 1987. We've marched together in 1993. And we've marched at various marches for rights, for justice. And she's my friend. Yeah, I mean, and I hope to know Laura for the rest of my life.
Being in GLUE, like I said, was like the answer to this question I didn't know that I had. You know, that to find some place where people were interested in not just advocating for, fighting for, standing up for LGBT people, but also Latinos, for LGBT Latinos. Like, that was just mind-blowing to me, you know, and it's where, like, I never intended to be an activist. I was just a rebel. But it's where I found, like, people who cared about all of me and all the things that I cared about. I mean, Lesbianas was part of GLUE, but we had our own meetings, we had our own retreats. You know, we would organize these retreats for women, for not women only, for Latinas only, Latina lesbians only, in the mountains. And, you know, a couple hundred women would show up, you know, for 3 days. And we had workshops, we had a talent night, we had wellness, you know, events as part of it, and it was all grounded in art and culture. It was very painful and healing. You know, a lot of healing went on there. A lot of women were scared to go. You know, for some women, it was a very risky thing to sign up, to put their name down, to pay money, to do whatever they needed to do to go away for this weekend.
Are we supposed to say our name? Oh, okay. Hi, my name is Denice. Thank you for welcoming me into this circle. I was thinking about the prompt for the retreat, and the prompt that you shared was to bring something in. We were supposed to bring something in that we connect to as queer Latinas, queer Mexicans, queer Puerto Ricans, queer Cubans, right? And I didn't really know what to bring. But on the flight here, I was dozing off, but something inside me said, pick it up. Has that ever happened to you? You like hear a voice and something is speaking to you? Something said, pick it up. And so I saw there was a magazine cover just popping out of the seat in front of me, and I picked it up, and on it was a cover of this queer Mexican lesbian, tattooed with short gray hair, you know? I had never seen something like that before. Not on a magazine cover, you know what I mean? And I also hadn't really seen a version of myself, you know, in the future, you know. I never really envisioned that, you know. Not as a queer Puerto Rican person, you know. And it's like I look at this cover and now I kind of want to grow old, you know. Can we live this free? I mean, this free? Can we not be stuffed in the back of somebody's somebody's story, you know, hidden in some closet or in the story where one of us always dies, you know? Like, can we live like this free? You know, looking at this cover, I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like the only acceptable way to be a Latina, you know, to be Puerto Rican is to be like spicy, you know, like to have like long hair and to have lipstick and like, what if I found God by cutting it, you know, like what if I found God by not wearing, you know, lipstick or skirts or those things? Like, does that make me any less? So I guess looking at this cover, I mean, it makes me feel like a door ripped clean off the hinges. And Silvana's standing on the other side.
We could start. If you could share your name, your full name, your date of birth, and your...
Does that have to be in the recording?
And your full name, your date of birth, and your place of birth.
My name is Laura Esquivel, Laura Maria Esquivel, not to be confused with the writer. And I was born in Los Angeles, California, July 18th, 1958.
You mentioned Cutie as your first girlfriend, right? I don't know if you had I feel like, did I see an interview with Cindy?
Oh, Cindy was the one when I was 15. But Cutie was my first experience.
What did Cutie look like?
So Cutie was part of this family that was a big gang family. You know, my homegirl Puppet, who was older than me, my homegirl Kako, who was my age. Cutie was their older sister.
I'm sorry. Okay, so this was probably 1975. So Cutie was this soft butch, right? And I was this femme-looking, like high femme-looking chola lesbian, you know? And so Cutie wasn't looking for me, okay? I had to make myself seen, you know? So, you know, tatas out, you know, eyebrows done, and you know, just the whole thing, yeah. Cutie had all the girls. She had this like big red sweater, you know, shag haircut, no makeup. I mean, I guess I had a thing for butches, you know, like I was 14, 15. Yeah. So I was out to all my friends and all my family. My mom, everyone knew that I was a lesbian. I didn't hide it. But as we got older, Cutie would sometimes bind her breasts so that we could pass as a straight couple, right? It was just easier, safer, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Cutie was my first.
Serena Payan Hazelwood, February 23rd, 1974, and I was born in Phoenix, Arizona.
My name is Silvana Salcido Esparza. I was born in San Fernando, California in 1960.
So, you want to know how I met Silvana? Okay. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is home. You know how home feels comfortable and warm? That's how I feel. That's how I feel when I'm with her, you know? Like I found home. And I didn't know when it was gonna come. I'm 49 years old. I have a child. So to meet someone at my age, you know, when we didn't have language, we didn't have queer elders, we didn't have queer people of color to look up to. We didn't have that. Huh? Sarina? Oh, yeah. I knew I was gonna meet my wife. I knew because a psychic told me. You see that room back there? This is my office. That's her office. I built that. And you know, I built that before I even met her. Because I wanted to be ready. I wanted to be ready when she came into my life. She can tell you, she can tell you better than I can. You should talk to her. So, I already knew who Silvana was because, Phoenix is small. And she's kind of, she's kind of a big deal. She owns a cafe. And so what I loved about her was how she would hire local artists to paint big murals on the side of her restaurants. Like big, big murals. And so I may have slipped into her DMs. And I didn't expect anything back, But like when she responded, I was so surprised, And then to realize like we had like this real connection, it was a connection where I felt safe. Because home wasn't always a safe place for me. Yeah, that's how we met. A lot of people think I'm a chef. I'm not a chef. Chef is what I use as a platform for social work. Because food is love. Food is love. This is hard work, We're daughters of the corn. It's in our blood. So to meet somebody who gets that, I'm 61. People at my age, they give up on relationships, but I didn't. I kept going. Home? That's what she said. You could say that. But we also build home. We build it as we go. And isn't that some queer shit?
Gloria Iris Melendez, 1964, Santurce, Puerto Rico.
Right. It's like little, now it's like Little Norris Square.
Yeah.
That's not a thing. I'm just making it up, right?
Absolutely.
It's like, but what blocks generally did you grow up on?
Actually, 8th and Oxford, between 7th and 8th and Oxford, which is, 2 north and 2 west. Originally, Sammy's 93. Was strictly straight. Strictly straight. Second floor was empty. By then, I had met Brenda.
You want me to talk about Brenda? Okay, I can talk. No, I can talk about Brenda. Brenda she was the love of my life. We were together for 10 years. And I had my son, Sammy, and she had a daughter. And Sammy loved her, I mean, everyone loved her. And we were like a perfect little family, She was so cute. She would wear like this button down. She was dressed so clean, so nice. She worked for PGW. She worked for PGW. We made a good team, I was the practical one, and she was the social one. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Brenda was the social one. Everyone wanted to talk to Brenda, And sometimes we'd be in the house, and I'd ask her. There's a saying in Spanish, I don't know if you speak Spanish. You say you're half Puerto Rican, so I don't know if you speak Spanish, but the expression is, in Spanish is, de quién tú eres, like who do you belong to, and like just to fuck with me, we'd be in the house, just to fuck with me, she would say al pueblo, and I hated that. Yeah. But everyone loved Brenda, Just unfortunately, the drinking, and there was just a lot of things, What can I say? Brenda and I, we were magical. I miss her every day. But it's like, wow. I mean, you're really taking me somewhere, It's like you have all these feelings, and what do you do with them? It's like you put them away, you put them in boxes and boxes and boxes, and then you put them way back there, and you have them, but sometimes you forget exactly where they are, and then somebody says something, and then it's like, boom. Huh? What would I say to Brenda? What do you mean? Like if I could put a message in a bottle and only Brenda would read it? Oh. You know what I would say? Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
So my full name is Leticia Ann Gomez. My date of birth is September 26, 1954. And my place of birth is San Antonio, Texas. Oh my God, I was so scared. Because up until that point, I thought when she finds out, I thought she'll disown me. I'm her only daughter. Done her best to, make me feminine. And so I was petrified. I was terrified. But she asked me, I just said yes. And I mean, I could see, I just remember her face just kind of like froze. And I think she sent me a letter, again, kind of reiterating what she had said to me, oh, this is not the life I would have chosen for you. You know, and years later, when the sodomy law was overturned in Texas, I mean, no, it was put back, it was overturned, then it was put back on the books in Texas. She called me immediately. She said, you're a criminal in Texas. Yeah. Again, you know, fearful for me.
She was concerned.
Yeah. If I wrote my mother a letter at that time, I would start with how she lived her life, and which is she believed that each of us lives our lives for ourselves, not for anybody else. No, porque she was always, she hated the thing about ¿qué va a decir la gente? You know, so you know, I would have said to my mother in that letter, you know, you raised me to live my life for me. You taught me that, and so and she got it. I mean, even if I didn't say it, she got it.
Because we know mothers who fed us rice and beans but wept quietly in the laundry room. Mothers who worried and worried and worried we would become a warning, a cautionary tale. Because we know mothers who bought us Barbie dolls and toy trucks, boxing gloves and pretty slippers, who worked in factories and waited until we came home at night. Because we know mothers who changed, who evolved, who learned, who we eventually shared our secrets with, who couldn't translate their fear, but tried. Ruthie's Barbershop is on the corner of St. Mark's and Flatbush. Yeah, I've been here 26 years? Yeah, 26 years, like that. Before the Starbucks and the hot yoga showed up, before the $6 lattes and $4,000 rents, you can still see the original letters on the storefront, even though the white paint's been chipping off. Yellow sticky notes hang all over from inside the glass door like a loose tooth. They say, call me, I'm in the back, or I'll be back in 15 minutes, or so sometimes I'll say, leave me a voicemail and I'll call you back, okay? I'll always call you back. Ruthie's shop got boxes on top of boxes on top of boxes. 2 wooden pews make an L shape where customers can squeeze past each other and wait until their turn to get lined up. Ruthie tells me she works with her hands, spent years working in those Brooklyn clothing factories, just like my mom. So I would sew buttons, you know, I would work with belts, you know, I mean, anything that I could do, you know, just handiwork, D. Heart work, I say. Ruthie got a way about her. If it wasn't for the Namyo Horenge Kyo card near her barber station, I wouldn't know what to make of it or how it came to be. But it's the same card that my mom has on her altar. Ruthie starts rubbing her hands together like she's in prayer or starting a fire. She tells me about a 14-year relationship she had with a woman who, she messed me up bad, real bad. And that's when I started chanting, you know? Yeah, we had 2 boys together too, you know? I would take them to school. And you know, D, that was the hardest part, not having them, not being with them, you know, because I was good to them, you know? I would talk to them, you know? I would raise them, you know? But this was before gay marriage, you know? So I didn't have no papers, you know? She had the kids. Ruthie keeps talking about the boys, but her voice trails off and another image emerges. It's been years since I've seen the boy that I helped raise. Sometimes, when it's real quiet, I can hear his laughter come out of other children's bodies. The 4-year-old at the grocery store, in the grocery store at the pasta aisle. The 6-year-old coming down the slide at McGaffrey Playground. You know, grief can freeze time, create a snapshot that folds in on itself and loops and loops and loops. I played that tape for years. Ruthie doesn't know this, but it's the first time I heard someone like us say the quiet part out loud. Ruthie, do you think they still look for you? Ruthie asked me to sit down. She puts her hand on my shoulder. She starts putting a cape around my neck, AKA what my good friend Nick calls the barber bata. She asked me when I want to get done today. Hey, Ruthie, let me just get a little trim, okay? Just a little cleanup. Maybe something on the sides. Just clean the neck area. Just not too short, okay? Not too short. Huh? I know you got me. Just not too short, okay? I don't want to look too masculine. You know, I got to take the train home later, okay? I just don't want any problems on the train, you know? Plus, you know, my mom would have a heart attack. Every time I come home after a haircut, she goes, "What else did they cut?" You know? Yeah, I used to have long hair. Yeah, like down to here, you know? Like curly hair down to here. And then I cut it. All right, so a couple summers ago, I took my mom back to PR to visit her family in Adjuntas. You know Adjuntas on the west side? Yeah. I took her to Adjuntas to see her brothers, my tios, you know? They still live in the town where she grew up. And we get to Tio's house, right? And I walk in and shortly after my prima comes in, right? And I hadn't seen them since I was little when we would go in the summers, you know? And my prima walks in and I'm like, "Hey, prima, what's up?" And I run over to her and she just stops and gives me a one-arm hug and lukewarm smile and walks right past me. It's like the air got real cold, you know? So we stayed for a little while and then my mom was like, you know, "Hermano, tenemos que ir, you know? We got to go see Tio Mingo, who lives across the bridge on the other side of the river," right? So we get in the car. And I didn't want to look at my mom, you know? I didn't really know what she would say. But I asked her, I said, "Mom, did you feel that?" And she said, "Yeah, Nena. That's why we left." You know, for the longest time, I thought I was the only gay person in my family. And then one day, Mommy goes, "You know we got another one like you in the family? Her name's Wanda. She's in Facebook." Just like that. Just like that. She doesn't live far from those cousins in Adjuntas. For a while, you know, I sent messages through my mom to Wanda. You know, tell her about me. Tell her about me, Mom. You know, tell her I'm going to come and visit her soon, okay? Tell her I want to interview her for this project I'm working on. Wanda was a lot older than me. And I knew she was sick, you know? I'd heard about the cancer and alcohol. But I thought I had time. The way you think you have time. When she died, I had all these questions, you know? Like all these questions going through my mind. came out of nowhere. But like the one question that I had in my mind, like if I could ask anything, you know, like ask God or the universe or the Buddha inside, if I could ask anything, I would say, did she know about me? Like really, did she really know about me? You know, when Wanda and my mom reconnected, Mom told me that Wanda had asked her, Titi, do you love me still? Do you still love me? Because I'm gay. And my mom said, of course, mi amor. Of course.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
She never pick up my calls. She never pick up my calls. Never pick up my calls. Okay, what's this? Okay, yes, the project for Denice. Okay, are you recording? Okay, very good. You too? Okay, very good. And one more. Okay, también. Okay, very good. So what do you want me to say? That's my baby. Okay, you want me to talk about this photo? Okay, I tell you very clear. Okay, so first of all, I'm Buddhist, okay? I've been chanting 35 years, ever since her father left, okay? I've been chanting for 35 years. And in the practice, we have a lot of gay, okay? A lot of gay. We had lesbian, we had the lesbian, we had the gay, we had trans, we had the non-binary, we had the trans, we had a lot of gay. Okay, I had 2 lesbians, okay? I had 2 lesbians. One is from Spain, one is from Puerto Rico. We go to Zumba, okay? And then I have of course, the Wanda who passed, and then I have 2 gays. Oh, no, I have 3 gays, and one is looking for a boyfriend. I'm helping him. So, okay, this photo, okay, I have it in my kitchen. I say to her one day, Denice, this is how I knew. This is how I knew you lesbian. Okay, this is how I knew you lesbian, okay? Because sometimes, okay, her father worked a lot, okay? But Denice was in love with him, always playing the basketball. Always playing the basketball, okay? Go. So she was sometimes when he was working, okay, because he worked a lot, she would come and dress in his clothes like this, like big clothes like that. And you know, my other chickens, I had 3 chickens, okay? The other chickens, they do the same, but something Denice, she like, she like it, you know? She like it. But and her mother, you know, in that time, you don't think nothing, right? You don't think anything. It's just kiss. But then she get to high school, she get to college, and then she come home, and the clothes get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then now, you know, when she come home, sometimes I say, that's a very nice shirt. Is men's or women's? And she don't like that. You don't know Denice. She not easy. She not easy with me. Okay, she get so angry with me. And I say, I don't mean to offend. It's a nice shirt. It's men's or women. I just want to know. So sometimes, as her mother, I had to learn to chop my mouth. I had to learn to chop my mouth because I don't want to say the wrong thing, you know? Sometimes I had to chop my mouth. So, you know, we family, okay? Sometimes we pass each other. We don't get it, you know? Do you know what I mean? We don't really get it. We pass each other. But I'm sorry, I'm man, okay? So I'm always gonna be here because it's mom's law no matter what. Glory, as in the word the elder lady riding the bus in 95 uttered when I gave her my seat. Glory then, as in to give something up. Give me glory. Glory becomes Gloria. Glory, a realization, a coming into. Just imagine everyone who steps into this bar has a moment like that. A night where the answer to the question they've been running away from lives in the hand that reaches out to dance. I want you to imagine this place as Gloria's Bar, named after the three Glorias, of course, Gloria Anzaldúa, Gloria Casares, and last but not least, the gay icon herself, Gloria Estefan. I want you to imagine this place packed on a Thursday night. First kisses on the dance floor right there. Drinks like Midnight Cowboy and Letty's Groove. I want you to imagine butches and femmes, dykes and everything in between. Dresses and baggy jeans, Timbs and fitted caps. A little corner where Ruthie is playing pool just over there. I want you to hear salsa and cumbia, Bad Bunny and Big Pun. I mean, can you imagine this whole joint singing, Pronto llegará el día de mi suerte, before the beat drops? I want you to imagine Iris and Brenda at last. Silvana, daughter of the corn, twirling Serena in her arms at last. There's Letty and Ruth, Laura and her sweetie. There's Francis dancing in a hunger of memory at last. DJ Cookie is spinning some Donna Summers and Celia Cruz at last. And I ain't saying it's perfect at last, but at least it's ours. This planet of women sipping medalla on the hood of Ada's car.
and I am the moderator for this, and I'm honored to be here with everyone for this panel discussion. I just want to thank Philadelphia Latino Arts Film Festival for, having this program, and also want to say, besides acknowledging our live audience, but also folks who are live streaming, hello and thanks for joining us. So I'm just going to introduce each one of our panelists here, and my quick introduction, other than being a moderator, is I'm a visual artist, community arts educator, also filmmaker, and have been working in communities for 25 years through public art and using art as a tool for positive social change. And so I'm going to start off with Denice. Denice is the writer and performer and the creator of this wonderful piece, Esto No Tiene Nombre. Denice is a poet and performer, a Pew Fellow, a Baldwin Emerson Fellow. Her work explores language, queerness, and the colonial relationship between U.S. and Puerto Rico. Her performances have spanned prestigious venues globally, and she's been featured in various media outlets, and she also is dedicated to mentoring young people, particularly LGBT youth and youth of color, and co-organized Poets for Puerto Rico in response to Hurricane Maria. And currently, she resides in Philadelphia. Thank you, Denice.
Thank you.
Alex Torra is director and co-creator of Esto No Tiene Nombre, perdón. Alex Torra is a Cuban-American theater director based in Philadelphia, co-founded Team Sunshine Performance in 2010, directing numerous major works for the company, and he's also an associate artist and former associate artistic director of the Pig Iron Theater Company. Torra freelances as a director of devised works, collaborating with artists like the wonderful Denice Frohman, and other artists as well, and recipient of the prestigious fellowships, including the Pew Fellowships for the Arts. Torra holds a BA from the University of Pennsylvania and MFA in directing from Brown University, Trinity Rep Consortium. Am I saying this all right? Okay, and currently teaches as an assistant professor of theater at Swarthmore College. Thanks for joining us. And Nia, thank you, Nia Benjamin, is the product designer. So Nia Benjamin is a agender, queer, Afro-Caribbean, multidisciplinary artist and performer filmmaker, set projection designer, video synth artist, and director of experimental theater, and their work uses the synthesis of dance, poetry, live music, theater, and video arts to create live performances about the sovereignty, liberation, and interiority of Black and brown, queer, and trans people. Nia is the co-artistic director of Ninth Planet, Philadelphia-based experimental theater company. So just beautiful, amazing gems that we have here. So I just want to start the conversation with you, Denice. What inspired you to create this play? And also, what was it like to make that transition between poetry to theater in what we saw today?
First off, thank you so much for moderating this conversation. Michelle was a part of a really important piece, as you saw in the play with Gloria's mural. So, yeah, I think for me, before I even knew I wanted to do a play, I knew what I wanted to explore and what I was reaching for, and that was an intergenerational conversation. Before this project, before there was even a play, I was just coming to a point in my life where I was trying to connect with, it started in an artistic way. I was trying to connect with other Latina, lesbian, and queer artists. And I felt a longing and a gap there. I just was trying to create a lineage for myself as an artist in that way. And that eventually turned into just a desire to talk with queer Latina elders. And I know not everybody in the show identifies with that term as an elder, but with just, again, that intergenerational conversation. And so, a series of just like beautiful moments happened. And obviously, without getting into the weeds a little bit, I was invited by Jacqueline Woodson to be part of an oral history project. And that kind of set the bones in place for the play to be like a thing for it to be made. And shout out to Intercultural Journeys for saying to me, hey, you're a poet in Philly. If we gave you a black box theater, what would you do? And I was like, I'm going to do something. And sort of this is what materialized out of that. But I think really Esto has just been a long time coming. It's just been a deep desire because I didn't see maps for myself. And I just, as I was getting older, I was, realizing that all my models were my age. And that felt I felt a desire for more, and also I knew that wasn't true. I knew that we were everywhere. I just needed to find us. And that was sort of what sort of started Esto and the journey that we were on. And I think, I've always kind of been theater's play cousin as a poet. I've always, poetry and performance have always been really intertwined for me, and so it just felt like a natural extension of my process.
Thank you. And just also have that memory of conversations that we had around collecting stories and around ethics and responsibility, and also just the beautiful common threads that, kind of emerge also in these conversations. So it's just beautiful to see this piece that makes me laugh and cry and feel like so many things, but also just to hear the voices of the people that you're connecting with, and how present they are in this work. So thank you for sharing that, Denice. So I think for everyone, because this is a team effort, right? Everybody connecting together. I think, and maybe we could figure out how to answer this, but again, artistic ways in which you were able to collect the stories and be able to move, because it's a difficult task of listening to all these stories that have so many points and so many really interesting moments, and how to place it in a work of art, right? But at the same time, finding artistic ways to tell that story. And I think that also kind of ties into, your role, Naya, in terms of representing that visual language and being a part of that, and really thinking about the design and that space and how even the transitions, right? So again, that's maybe a question for both of you at this moment to see what would you like to share about that particular process? So stories in terms of the artistic work, but then also how that translates visually in the piece.
I'll just say something really quick, and then I'll pass it off to Nia and Alex. I mean, we struggled with that question. That was one of the main questions we struggled with, is okay, these are incredible women. These are incredible stories. These are incredible interviews. We have audio. What do we do with them, and how do we make it compelling and not like a PowerPoint presentation? And that question lived in the room for a long time, and I really tip my hat to Nia and Alex for experimenting and for lending their talents to sort of making something that was very raw and compelling into something that was theatrical and artistic, and that there was a story. So just to affirm, that was a really hard thing to figure out.
I'm like, it wasn't that hard. Not for me.
I was drowning.
So a little context is that
is your mic on? Can we hear?
Is it on? Can you hear me?
Okay, that's
yes.
better. Yes, thank
Great.
you.
I'm also a theater person, so I can fill the room if I need to. But yeah, this was Denice's first making of a play, and so there was we spent a little time just trying to understand the different forms of solo work, and especially works that are based on interviews. And those works are all some of them are the performer is embodying the person that they interviewed. Sometimes they're reading a kind of transcript. One of the things we do in making original work is, especially when the performer is making the work, is trying to figure out the way that the performer really shines, their superpowers are on display. And Denice is such a natural mimic and performer. I was like, oh, you're an actor, great. So we started to play first with the notion of embodying the people that were being interviewed, and then poetry felt like a really natural part to put in there. And then actually one of the things that we started to discover was that some of the things we wanted to do was not about embodying it, but actually seeing Denice encounter history and then place herself inside of it. And we were like, oh, that feels like we're trying to like stage the thing that Denice is doing as she is interviewing people, encountering this history and then trying to like absorb it, be with it. And so actually the piece is kind of structured so that you see Denice absorb, and then become. And that was a really like enjoyable process. And then we were like, well, how do we support it with, this is my transition to you.
Nice. That was good, that was good. Is this on? Yes, I think it is. Yeah, I think from the moment that choice was made, it became really clear that, you know, we could have done something really conceptual and made it kind of like highfalutin, and that wasn't the right gesture, I think. Is this better? Is this better? Is this? There. Okay, great. Maybe this one. Okay, yeah, that sounds, okay. But yeah, I think the like I was saying, the moment that we realized that it was about seeing her place herself within this larger history, we couldn't do anything that was going to be more, I think, moving and potent than actually seeing the history itself. So having the access to all the archive and the audio and these videos, I think it became a game of trying to sew together these various forms of archiving, you know? So for example, Ruthie the Barber, that's a video that a filmmaker made randomly in New York as part of a film class, you know? And like, little did he know that we could have used that, right, to sort of talk about a woman making a space for herself, a woman, you know, creating a way for herself, and how that sort of overlaps with Denice's own sort of journey in the piece. And I think from there, it was about how to make the archive visible. And so we wanted to put that on, you know, with projection. We could see images of these women. You could hear them. They could be physically in the space with you without having to do maybe some of those other kind of performance gestures that feel weird, you know, like a transcript or anything. It's like the history is the thing, you know, making it visible is the thing. So I think from there it was just a lot of listening, and we were all kind of mostly in the room together all the time. And so it was just listening to these stories and hearing these sort of echoes of people talking about boxes and, like, you know, going to visit archives. Denice and I visited archives together at the William Way Center, and everything was just in boxes, you know? So it's like, okay, like Alex said, the choices are actually quite easy, which is just to honor the process of the thing and let the process be visible. And I think that became sort of this really beautiful artistic gesture, but it just was us trying to amplify the work and make it really tangible.
Amazing. I think that what's really, like, to see those transitions, to see Denice, we see you watching the screen or seeing these images, and in a sense, the archives are coming to life, right, in the space. And then that scene where you then kind of are in the space of the light of the projection, right? So I see that transition very, very beautifully done. Anything else do you want to add about the collaboration? Or, you know, we talked a little bit about the challenges, but how about a little bit of what was great in having a team and kind of figuring this out? Like, because I think it's, even though it's a one-person show, it's still multiple people with different points of views. Do you want to add anything else to that in terms of what you've already shared?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's clear from watching the play, like, it's a one-person show, but I'm certainly not the only voice, and I feel like the project is incredibly collaborative, and to me, the process was really, really important. This is like, Michelle was one of the people I went to be like, how do you do this with care? And it was really important for me. What I loved is we were like emailing, and I was texting several of the participants leading up to the show to be like, do you have another photo? Do you have another video? Letty, can you do an intro for Laura? Laura, can you do, and so there was this participation that felt really organic and felt really like I wanted them to feel included. And so beyond these two amazing human beings who have like changed my life and are incredibly talented. I mean, like, Nia is totally downplaying, like, a little bit of Mad Max energy, like always, you know, like, seriously, like the projections, the set design. I can be a little bit of a control freak, but I didn't have time to be. And so I was just like, Nia, just do your thing. And really, I think, brought a physical world of Esto to life, and like Alex's directorial choices, I mean, really pushed me to be vulnerable, because I can wiggle out of anything. I can wiggle out of being vulnerable.
It
we'd be in rehearsal, and Alex is like, "Where did you go? What just happened right there?" And there were so many things that I wanted to write about. I mean, before we had a rehearsal, one of our first meetings, I was like, "Here are all the things I want to talk about." And then when we got in rehearsal, Alex was like, do you want to do some writing around those things? And I was like, absolutely not. And so I feel a lot of gratitude for the ways in which, and in collaborations, like, you have to feel safe. Absolutely. It's not just about how talented you are, or how big the project is, or how many people are behind it. You have to feel safe, and there has to be trust between your collaborators and your artistic partners. And I feel so lucky to have had that in this experience in so many ways, and such a leap for me. And yeah, I think Esto, my hope is that Esto has like a long life. And I should say, because I'm back there literally taking notes about all the things that I want to like revise. This is obviously more than a first draft. What you saw, it's more than a first draft, but it's not completed work. And so I'm really excited. I'm going to be at residency this summer, continuing to work on the script and hopefully continue to grow the story as well.
Well, that was going to be one of the questions,
Oh,
follow-up
right,
questions
sorry.
of what's going to
Jump
happen,
ahead.
what's the future. But I do want to tie into the work of art and Esto No Tiene Nombre as also a living archive as well, right? So it's like bringing this history to life. And, we all, as you mentioned in the play, the Gloria Casares mural erased, being whitewashed, and how that's very still present to this day of the issues around erasure, the issues around the systems that allow for that erasure to happen, right? And I'm sitting here and I'm watching this piece as also kind of a testimony to this and an act to fight against that erasure, right? Do you see this piece? Do all of you see this piece in that way in terms of, because again, it's bringing this to life, but I'm not sure if you're seeing it in this way as well.
I mean, I think the only thing that I'll add to that is the Gloria scene was the only scene in the entire play that never happened. There was no community meeting. That's why I wanted to create one as a way to maybe create some healing or create some accountability. Because, we've had conversations, you have been at the, we're deeply involved in that. It was your artwork, and you were showed up with so much care around honoring Gloria and fighting for her. And I felt like, you know what, I felt this like, I really don't want them to think we're gonna forget. And it's almost strange how the things that I said in the play are actually happening today. There's an article in Philly Inquirer about what's most recently been going on with the mural and the developer Midwood's plans, and it's exactly what sort of is named in the play. And so I love that there is this moment of reckoning in the play, and I actually really love that scene is the only scene that's never taken place. It's the only point where we actually break out of the archive, in a way, even though it's still very much related to this idea of like memory and remembrance. So I think that's really important.
Well, I think, and with the Gloria Casares mural, yes, that's like a whole other conversation. Yeah. But I also admire, and I think one of the things in terms of fighting for Gloria is the importance of, through that process was just reminding people that this is a full human being that was loved, that had care, that had her family, that beyond her public figure, beyond her public persona. And I feel that the other stories that you tell in Esto No Tiene Nombre is also connected to that, right? The folks that create spaces, for their community, the folks that identify themselves as activists, or are seen as leaders in the community, right? There's this really beautiful way that you've brought in their kind of layered, identities. That's not just this kind of like, what they present themselves out into the public or the role that they assume as leader activists, right? And so I really appreciate seeing that in the piece too. Well, the future. What do you see in terms of the future? And it would be great to hear from all of you, because that'll be great to share with the group. And future can be like, yeah, we're going to put this out into the universe, so it can happen. So what's the future for Esto No Tiene Nombre?
I mean, we're hoping that there's a life for it. I mean, I think that we really created this version in the last bits of it were done so quickly. And we felt really lucky that it came together in the way that it did. But there hasn't been time to now. So sometimes when you make work and the first time it gets presented, an original work, sometimes you put little seeds of things that'll grow at some other point. So I was watching, I was like, oh, that thing is we're gonna water that later, and it's gonna bloom into something. I think there's more interviews that need to get incorporated, that Denice did since we did the show, and then to evolve the design process. So a lot of the pieces are there, and the heart is there, and it feels like it wants another turn, essentially. Mm-hmm. And we're looking for residencies and presenters and folks who want to help us develop that.
Yeah, and I think something I'm really excited about is taking the show to the communities of the participants, the women in Esto, taking it to New York and LA and like DC and Phoenix. I think that's something that I think is really, really possible, and something that I know we're hoping to do more productions in the near future, and also to continue to I think, and expose young people to this living history. I mean, Esto is not about ancestors. These women are with us. They're here. They're very much with us and living their full lives. And I think there's something powerful in that, because also not everybody's an activist in the play, But even the activists, you hear some of some stories around their activism, but you hear love stories, and you hear like who their first crush was, or you hear like how they fell in love. I mean, that is a true story. Like I didn't know who Silvana was until I was on an airplane and I saw a magazine cover, and then this was before there was an Esto, this was before there was a fellowship, this was before any of that, and I just kept the magazine in my apartment. And Silvana was a name that popped up, and like I was able to meet her and fly to her house and stay with her and Serena in their beautiful home in Mexico. And like, it's not just the play that I'm really excited about and proud of, but I think more than anything, I wanted to have relationships with these women, and I started Esto without any real relationships with queer elders, and like I finished with like 20 queer Latina stepmoms, who are like inviting me over and like stay, come, and invited me into their homes, and like that is such a special thing, and I think that energy is in the play, and yeah.
Yeah, I think what I'll add to that too, well, first and foremost is like a huge thank you to all of the women who were interviewed, who basically turned their lives over to us, and were so generous and so trusting, because we spent so much time looking at their photos and listening to their stories. And also what was so moving, as a queer person, was all the connections between them, whether they were across the country, we marched together, we organized together, we spent time together, we were at this thing. So to realize the potential, I think the work that Denice is doing to like place herself within this legacy and this history, it's a little different for me as a younger queer person, because I'm like, I do have a little bit of that sort of lineage of age, but it just like shows how much has been hidden and how much has been, it needs to be uncovered and connected. So I think what I'm excited about is the continuation of what I think is exciting about the archive, which is that it'll never be finished. You will never be able to finish archiving this history, because it's happening day to day, moment to moment. So I think from a design perspective, I'm excited to see how, as the stories develop, as they age or turn or shift, like how we're able to continue to demarcate that feeling of like the archive building on itself. Like that's something that's really fascinating to me.
Well, I'm thank you for your responses, and I can see it and visualize it, visualize the future. I'm not sure how are we on time because I left my phone over there, so I have no idea what time it is. But I just wanted to see if we're at time. Sorry. Well, I was like, well, if you have questions, you can connect with the group after we wrap it up. But again, thank you for sharing and creating this beautiful play, and just I hope it continues to grow. I hope more people see it, but that it's just a beautiful living archive, right? That is again something that can connect to so many different people. But also how meaningful it is, right? And your process, and to also bear witness to your process is just amazing. So thank you. Can we, somebody has a hand up, yes. Yes!
Laura's here!
Laura! For the people that are live streaming, Laura's here, and
Laura's here.
and saying that just thanks for taking the care and telling the story. So we want to make sure people can hear. Thank you, and again, it's an honor to be here with you guys, and also to see this beautiful play and this work of art. And again, thank you to Philadelphia Latino Arts and Film Festival for allowing us to have this space, to creating this space where we can share this. And can we have a big round of applause again for Denice, Alex, and Naya. Thank you.
Just to say